Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KeenGamer podcast. I'm your host, Mark O'Callahan, and we have a great episode for you guys today. Joining us for the podcast, Jessica Orr. Jessica, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thanks, Mark. Like Dan, I'm a little bit warm. We're having a heat wave in the UK, but apart from that, all good.
Yeah, it's like 90-ish here in New York. It's not fun.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sure that's hot.
Oh, yeah, you have like a different
Fahrenheit.
temperature.
90 over
Metrics
here would
and-
make you were on fire. So
Yeah, and here you'd just be
like you
dead.
would just
You'd be in
spontaneously combust if
mountain.
you were 90. Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
New
30
Yorker thing.
32,
Bursting
yeah.
flames.
32 degrees Celsius for anyone in the UK. It's pretty warm.
But hey, at least our dollar, your pound, we're the same now. That's some e-commerce trivia for you guys now. Welcome back
That's
to
what,
the
that's what the
Keen
people come.
e-commerce.
Yeah.
Breaking
Let's
down
celebrate
all
the
the
downfall of the economy.
should you sell or buy?
That's the main
I don't
topic
know.
of today's show.
The stock market,
Uh,
life's true game. But also joining us, someone who was also suffering from this quote heat with Celsius or pounds, I don't know. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm okay at the minute, but I might be a puddle by the end of this. You might see a pair of glasses and a puddle on this seat at the end. Us pale British people that play video games, we aren't built for the heat, man. It's too much.
And for our audio listeners, Dan is wearing a black shirt, which can't help at all.
I'm wearing a blue jumper. You know, it's a trackie, so I was like, a trackie will be comfy today, but I forgot the trackie top wasn't just a top, it was a jumper.
Oh,
Mistakes were made.
yeah, see, Mark, we're not prepared for this. We don't know how
But
to handle it.
I do have aircon on my feet right now, so that's helping. So I'm really hot up here and really cool down there. So.
it's like a hell mullet. It's like business in the front, cool in the back.
Yeah.
And then lastly, joining us from his vacation home, hopefully you're not dying of heat, Noah. Noah, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not dying of heat at all here. I'd say it's maybe 85 degrees Fahrenheit here. In Celsius, that's maybe 29, I'd say.
Wow, look at Noah flexing his math, his international knowledge. Ooh. Where are you vacationing, Noah?
I have a lakefront. Well, I don't. My parents have a lakefront house at Lake Wallenpaupack in Pennsylvania. It's kind of the northeast area.
How far is that from Hershey Park?
From Hershey, maybe 3 hours. I'd be closer to there in my regular home.
That had nothing to do with anything. I just really love Hershey Park. They have a 5-pound Hershey bar, Brits.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Hershey
As in the
Hershey
chocolate.
Park.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is that the chocolate tastes like vomit?
You take that back, you son of a bitch.
Hershey
Right.
tastes like vomit, right?
It
No!
does indeed, yeah.
No.
It does?
What?
Yeah. You guys don't know
I'm
what
s-
good chocolate is.
No, it tastes like it's been made with rotten milk. Like let's wait till the milk goes lumpy and then make the chocolate. That sounds good, lads. What? No.
So we're selling Hershey stock. We're not going to buy in. Is that what's going on here?
not until it's nice and creamy and doesn't taste like vomit.
I can't believe you guys.
What a slogan. Nice and creamy and doesn't taste like vomit.
Yeah. KeenGamer, rotten milk. It's a horrible slogan, but you know what's not horrible? This podcast. Woo, back on track. We got a fun episode for you guys today because in honor of God of War Ragnarok, we are going to talk about the best gaming sequels. Plus, we're going to talk about that date announcement, Forspoken getting delayed, Skate's free to play. But first, let's talk about the games we're playing right now. So, Jessica, you're playing a new game called Madison. I have no clue what this game is. Please enlighten me.
A couple of people might know of just because it was featured on a couple of the streams during non-E3. What did you call it, Dan? JeffCon 3?
JeffCon 3.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Brilliant. JeffCon 3, when it was on, I think it was in Guerrilla Games. It was
That's so
definitely not in Wholesome Games because it's a horror game. It's a horror game inspired by PT, like many have after it came out. But it's probably the best one I've played since it's been inspired by PT. I played Visage, which I mentioned on one of my first episodes in podcast, but it's a little It's puzzles were just like, I don't want to solve this. This isn't fun. Whereas Madison has it reminds me of Resident Evil 7 meets PT. You've got like an inventory management, you're in a creepy house, and it's only made by two people, two Spanish developers, I believe. They're called Bloodiest Games. It's pretty polished. The basic premise is you're a guy called Luca. You don't know what's happened. Your dad's just banging on the door saying, "What have you done? What have you done?" And then creepy stuff starts to happen as you're running away in this house, and you go into your grandma's house, and you have to solve puzzles, but they're like Resident Evil puzzles, but maybe a little harder. And a lot of them, maybe all of them, are like randomly generated, the solutions. So you can know how to solve it, but you can't just look at a guide and say, "Oh, I just need to input this and do it." You have to go and do it yourself. And I think it's a really good horror game that balances psychological horror and jump scares, because my god, does it have jump scares. I screamed like some 40-year-old woman the other day, like 3 times in a row, because something was chasing me. It was like, woo! But those bits are fun. It's kind of like you're on like a ghost train ride or something, and then you have the real, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, it's this really creepy, foreboding feeling. A really cool mechanic is the camera you get. You have to take pictures of things, and it reveals what you have to do in these puzzles. It's really clever. Like, if you see a Polaroid somewhere, you know you have to take a picture, and it'll show you something different in the Polaroid. Like, here's what you sort of the general idea of what you have to do. That is also used as like a scaring mechanic, because at a certain point you need to take a picture of this thing in a room, but it was all dark, and when you took the picture, it flashed and you saw it. It was like running at you. It's in first person, by the way, which is right, reminds me of Resident Evil 7. Emmanuel Ortiz did the review on KeenGamer, and he gave it an 8.5, which is honestly around about where I am right now. I haven't completed it. He didn't really like the inventory management, which I get. It kind of did feel like it was kind of tacked in there. Like, oh crap, we've got too many items. We don't want people just carrying this around. So here's this and Resident Evil inspired thing. I do agree with him that the puzzles were really good, really solid. But for me, I played on Xbox, and it had this really annoying bug where every time you unlocked an achievement, it would put you to the main menu. And yeah, there was achievements like just take 50 photos. So I do it at a really inconvenient point, and there's no manual save system. So you went back to your autosave, and it happened to me about 3-4 times in a row. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not playing this until they patch it. But they have patched it. I need to go back like tonight or tomorrow to finish it off. Really cool if you liked PT, like Dan, I think you mentioned you played PT, right?
Hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah. it's came close to it's not as convoluted like the puzzle solutions in PT itself. There's even a corridor inspired moment, but it was actually really cool. I didn't feel like they were ripping off PT. It was their own thing that they did with it. It's got that scary, weird stuff going on, but also it's got the psychological story. It's not like perfect. It's got a bunch of frame rate issues, and that bug on the Xbox was really annoying, but they're working on patching it, and it's 2 people, indie game. Really recommend it if you're in the Resident Evil or PT, or even if you did play Visage and found it a little difficult.
Awesome. Now, what kind of puzzles are we talking about?
Oh, you've never played a Resident Evil game, so I suppose that's not a very good reference for you, is it?
I don't know. You say PT, and I'm like an old person. I'm like, oh, physical therapy.
No physical therapy puzzles that I've come across so far.
The puzzle walk.
That was PT. Yeah. In PT, you had like these really weird things to try and work out. Like, you had to shout Lisa in the mic.
I had like an audio trigger. You had to like say Lisa at the mic and stuff. And
constantly just going,
really
Lisa. It wasn't incredible. Very Hideo Kojima though. In this, it's more like Resident Evil. Like, you need to find the right item, like Metroidvania, I guess. Find the right item to unlock the door to go into the next area, or you get like random items like you do in Resident Evil, like a medallion, and you got to work out there was like a galaxy puzzle, like a solar system. You had to find the right medallions and put them in the right order. You get clues for that, and there's a hard mode where you can't take a Polaroid photo helping you out, but I just went to the normal one, and it's totally fine. It's a good balance. I'm not like I'm totally stumped. What do I do? Like Visage. But there's moments where like, I wonder what I have to use this for, and you just need to wait a little bit longer for it to be revealed. Yeah.
Now, is this free on Game Pass, or you just bought it?
No, so I got a copy for doing guides. So, but I was gonna buy it. It's been on my radar for a long time. I mentioned it in our looking forward to upcoming games. I think it's really cool. It's made by 2 people. Like looking at it, you really wouldn't think it was just 2 people. Apart from those bugs, it seems really good. So I'll see what the price is actually, and it's out on Xbox, PC, Switch, and PlayStation. So pretty accessible to jump on it.
And remember, pound is the same as a dollar, so no conversions here.
Is developed by a Japanese team? Is it a Japanese horror game?
No, I think it's Spanish. They're 2-person Spanish team.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
right.
okay.
Cool. Spanish horror can be creepy. I've seen some Spanish horror films that are pretty messed up.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks to be from 30 Great British pounds to 35 Great British pounds.
Ooh.
Yeah. So not a $70 game, thankfully.
It's not Last of Us Part 1?
It is not.
Ah, oh well. So for any horror games, like fans out there, you would recommend this?
Definitely. One of the best I've played in quite a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. Anything else before we move on?
I don't think so. I think it's all... I'm trying to remember. I don't think it's very long, though, which is probably why the 30 to 35 pound price tag is. You're probably getting the length of a Resident Evil campaign. You know, you can complete that in no time at all if you know what you're doing, or it'll take you about 10 hours in the first playthrough.
Nice. So moving on to me. So a couple weeks ago, Daniel talked about Far Cry 6, and this is just after the PlayStation Plus news system came out. And I'm like, oh my God, I downloaded Far Cry 3. I still haven't played it. So I played a little last night. And, very early on, I just unlocked the first tower. I think I'm going to my first outpost. I will say this. Voss, definitely not overhyped. I think even a little underhyped. Because immediately, I forget the actor's name and it's going to kill me. But
Michael Mando.
Exactly. He was just so electric. He's talking to you in the cage with your brother. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And I didn't even get to the famous bits yet. I'm just getting for it's like a little appetizer. And it does play an old-ish 2012 game. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's oh yeah, I just went from Returnal, PlayStation 5 to this. It's a little bit of a jump down, but what ifs. But all in all, very fun. So a little short for me, but actually transitioned to Daniel, Far Cry 6. Now, you said before the podcast you were playing a Stranger Things mission, which I'm like, no, there's no Stranger Things. You're probably thinking of I don't know, Fortnite or some crap like that. And then Google's like, nah, he's right. I'm like, oh. So please enlighten me, Daniel.
So when I bought Far Cry 6, bear in mind I bought it a year after it came out and whatever, stuck it in my PS5 and installed it. You know how when you're on the PS5 menu screen, it gives you the wee icon and then it gives you the image in the background? Well, the image in the background was Far Cry and then the wee X thing, Stranger Things. So Far Cry crossover Stranger Things. And it's got the female Danny character. Now you can play the male or female. You've got the female Danny character standing with a gun and what looks like the upside down. And in the background, you've got the Mind Flayer standing, looking down at her. So I was like, I kind of assumed it was some online nonsense. I was like, this is some, like you're saying, Fortnite, some co-op online. I'm not an online guy. So I was like, this doesn't matter to me. I'll just play the game. So I'm just, doing my thing, playing through Far Cry. And then I see this side mission come up, The Vanishing. And it was just a side mission. So I just thought it was another casual side mission. And I go, and you have to go down to this bunker. There's a dog in the game called Chorizo. He's this wee sausage dog with a wheelchair. So Chorizo's gone missing. That he's the vanished character.
He's the Will Byers.
Yeah, he's the Will Byers. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
So
I'm loving this.
He's been taken, and you get asked to go and look for him. So the last place we've seen was this bunker. You go to this bunker, and all of a sudden you hear these Russian radio transmissions coming through the bunker. So you make your way down, and you're speaking to this woman over like walkie-talkies and stuff. And there's these big claw marks in the door, which looks like something the Demogorgon would have done. You know, these kind of 3 big claw marks. And you're hearing this Russian woman, and she is, I think they say that she's number 6. Now, like 11's 11. She's one of the kids growing up and living in Yara, apparently. And she has the psychic powers. She's this older.
Is this
Russian woman.
canon?
She's never. No idea. Probably not. I don't know if the Duffer signed off on this. She's spent her whole life in this bunker, and she's like, I know where your dog is. He's in this place. They don't call it the Upside Down. They call it the Shadow Place or the Shadow Realm or something. So you fight with her. You fight all these like Russian soldiers, and then you get to in season 3, at the end of season 3, when, spoilers if you're not seen Stranger Things, when Hopper closes the gate at the end of season 3 and you think he's dead, that big laser thing. So you've got one of them in this bunker at the bottom, and you have to do this kind of puzzle to power it up. It's a Ubisoft game, so it's not a puzzle. You pull a couple of levers and press a button, and this laser comes on, and then you go into the Upside Down. And do you know something? I wasn't expecting much. They've done a really good job. You go in the Upside Down, and you're in the same control room, and everything's covered in the gunk that you get in Upside Down. And then when you go outside, you're met with the Mind Flayer. He's standing in the sky looking down at you, and it's really, playing it on a big TV, it's really intimidating. So you fight. They do slightly play with the canon, because there's kind of like zombie creatures that are like these people lost to the Upside Down who have got like blue glowing eyes and run at you. It's just Far Cry enemies, basically. So you fight through them. But the Demogorgon's there. Eventually, the Demogorgon, spoilers, you find Chorizo. You find his wheel first for his wheelchair, and then you find him, he's all cocooned in the Upside Down gunk, and you get him out, you put his wheelchair thing back on, and then you have to get him back, and then that's when the Demogorgon emerges and starts chasing you, and then more Demogorgons emerge. You can't kill the Demogorgon, which is a bit disappointing. Even if you flamethrower him and throw Molotovs, you can't actually kill him. It just keeps coming.
Aww.
But you can slow him down, and you can kill these other things, and then you just sort of run back. But while you're doing it, as you're killing these things, you hear the Mind Flayer kind of getting pissed off up in the sky, and he starts to come down, and he kind of looks right at you, and you're like, oh Jesus! Like, you look up and this thing's right there, and then it goes back up, and then it stops on its feet, and then more lightning, the red lightning happens, and then more creatures come at you, and it was way more than I thought it would be. You know, I thought it would be really kind of surface level, just a skin slapped on the map. But no, they actually did work in some elements for the show, like the Mind Flayer and the Demogorgons, and there's a Demodog at the end as well that you have to, when you get back to the bunker door, it's typical video game nonsense. Oh, we can't get the bunker door opened. Then you speak to this Russian woman, and she's like, oh, I'll hack in and I'll get the door closed, you know, and she's trying to open the door while you're holding off the Demogorgons, whatever. But it was fun. And then, yeah, then you get back through the portal. She, of course, stays behind to close the portal, Hopper style, so she quote-unquote dies, so that they don't have to write her out of the rest of the game, I guess. And then later on, well, you think she's dead, and the character of Danny's sitting in the bar having a drink, and he's thinking about this, and he's like, oh gosh, she was an interesting woman, I wonder where she is, you know, what happened to her. And then there's these like lights over the bar, and they'll start flickering, you know, upside down style. And then the Mexican barmaid hits the power box and goes, shitty lighting. Shits the thing, you know, the lights come back on. And then it cuts to Chorizo, who comes out his wee doghouse and coughs up a slug. The way that
no!
But because he's a dog, he just eats it again. You know, dogs just eat vomit. So he coughs up the slug, and then he just wags his tail and then just eats it again. And then it comes up Far Cry. It comes up with the music, you know, it's like the do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and it comes up Far Cry 6, The Vanishing. So I was like, do you know what? That was fun. I enjoyed that. I didn't expect it. So it was just a throwaway thing.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Playing. If you're a Stranger Things fan and you happen to have Far Cry 6, it's obviously free DLC, but yeah, it's a laugh. It's good. I don't know how
they're teasing a sequel.
The game, but yeah. Do you know something? I can't believe I'm saying this, but see, as I was playing through it, I was like, I would like to see a Ubisoft Stranger Things game. That was kind of my takeaway. I never ever thought I would say that. But there you go. They've done a good job with that new mission, so it was good. It was fun.
Do you think there's towers in the Upside Down?
Oh, no doubt. If Ubisoft are making it, there's an Upside Down, 100%.
Okay, first of all, the whole time I can think of, and actually lots of things. One, I have Far Cry 6. I only did like the beginning. I want to play that mission now. Good sell, Daniel. Ubisoft is proud.
Worth a play. Definitely.
2, the only thing I can imagine now is chorizo with the Will Byers haircut.
That mushroom hair.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it would
God.
just be so good. And no, that's it. That's only 2 thoughts. I want to play it, and I want a chorizo Will Byers crossover.
It's just-
Yeah,
it-
cosmetic, please.
It's so strange though, because the next mission I did after that was a normal, story mission, and then you just cut back to Giancarlo Esposito giving this dictatorish dramatic speech, and you're like, I just watched Chorizo cough up an upside down slug, and I'm watching, it was so jarring just to get
Video
back to like
games.
mainline Far Cry. I was like, this is bizarre. But yeah,
Listen, Dictator is very bad, but the upside down, it's a little more of a threat. Unless
Yeah.
there's a Giancarlo upside down Dictator.
oh, that'd be
sequel.
proper scary. Listen, Giancarlo's and everything else. He's in The Boys. He's in Mandalorian. Why not Stranger Things?
I just want him to be
Fine.
like a good guy. That's it. But yet
Spe-
again,
oh,
even if
Sorry, because speaking of Vass, that's 2 Better Call Saul characters that are Far Cry villains.
well, good point. And isn't there like a DLC that has like Voss returning?
Yes, there is. There's a DLC in Far Cry 6. It's got Pagan Min, Troy Baker's character for Far Cry 4, and Michael Mando's character, Vass. I've not played it. I think it's some paid DLC online thing. Like I said,
Yeah.
not up my street at all. But yeah, it's in the game. I think they brought the actors back and they did some updated graphics and motion capture and stuff. So I don't know if it's worth checking out, to be honest. I might get around to that when I beat the game. We'll see.
Interesting. Thanks, Daniel. Now I want to play Far Cry 6. Moving on to Noah, which is that a marlin behind you?
Yeah,
Or-
it's a marlin. It's kind of odd to have a saltwater fish here, but whatever.
I'm more
The elephant
impressed.
mark.
I'm more complimented. Like Noah thinks I know the difference between freshwater and saltwater fish. Like I'm judging him. Like, ooh, you have a saltwater fish? I don't know. I didn't even know that British people hated Hershey's and the Scottish. Disney.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, I just learned
Do
that
you guys
myself.
like Reese's?
Yeah, Reese's is great. Yeah.
Jessica, do you like
That's peanut-
Reese's?
Yeah, that's peanut butter. That's good.
Yeah, but it also has Hershey chocolate.
Yeah, but a very
Yeah, but-
little amount.
That's
peanut
not a
butter
very
masks
little.
the peanut butter masks the vomit taste.
Yeah.
So no KeenGamer podcast live from Hershey Park. It's gonna pay for airfare, but never mind. Anyway, Noah, you've been playing again Pokemon White. How is it? Any updates?
Yeah, I liked my playthrough. Yeah, speaking of sequels, that's a good sequel. So pretty far in, I beat the Pokemon League. Now I'm doing post-game stuff, and really that's something I had forgotten going in. Is there's a lot of post-game with this one. There's a lot of legendaries you can go and catch. So I just caught Regirock and Regice. So yeah, so that was fun. My team of 6 is Samurai, Conkeldurr, Volcarona, Hydreigon. See, that's and Gigalith, and that's 5, right? 1, 2. Oh, and Electros.
Now, is Electros a freshwater Pokemon or a saltwater Pokemon?
I'm gonna go if it's based off of a freshwater eel, but it's an electric type that it doesn't really live in water. But I'm gonna go if the sketch is a freshwater eel.
I'm surprised you actually gave me a dignified answer.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna dare ask him that question, he is going to answer it detailed for you.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, if it's an electric type, maybe it's supposed to be an electric eel. That would make sense.
Anything else about Pokemon White 2?
Let's see. I now need to go catch Cresselia. That's on one of the bridges, and there's still places I haven't been to. Like there's a whole lot of the map that you only get to visit after beating the Pokemon League. which is very, very unique to this game. So I've still we've got to connect Icarus City with the Dragon City and the Flying Gym City. There's certain routes I haven't done there yet. Then I've got to go to the southeast and then go through like where the original Pokemon White starts. Like you have to hit that peninsula last and kind of head down to where Professor Juniper lives.
Slightly off topic, but did you hear
us going off topic? What?
Well, then this is more on topic than we usually go.
Okay, then have the floor.
Did you hear the rumors, Noah, about clone Pokemon being in Pokemon Violet and Scarlet?
Yeah, we're calling it's RF, and a lot of people are theorizing that that's regional fakes, or some may even say that it means robotic fakes, like robot fakes. So I hope that the large Pokedex count isn't like, I hope there aren't like 30 of these regional fakes, like what A-Drive said in a video a little while ago. Like the more new Pokemon, the better. I don't want a huge amount of those to just be redrawn and reimagined sketches. I want completely new things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, it's a lot of sequel talk. It's like that's the main topic of the show. We didn't plan that. But Jessica, you've been playing Life is Strange 2.
Yes. I blanked on Life is Strange 2 for 4 years now. I've played every other Life is Strange game and Tell Me Why, which is basically a Life is Strange game, just in all but name. Because it had a demo beforehand. I don't know if any of you are fans of called Captain Spirit, or The Amazing Adventures of Captain Spirit. And it was a free demo, basically, with a different character, not in Life is Strange 2, but it connected to the universe. And I have had it installed on 2 Xboxes for 4 years across 2 Xbox generations. Never got around to playing it, which is why I never started Life is Strange 2. But I had a little bit of free time and I wanted to play a single player game. And I was like, sure, I have the first episode for free somehow. I can't remember where I got it from. So I started playing it, and I played episode 1. And oh my God, it's the saddest Life is Strange story. Like, I've played 1.5 episodes of it, and they're known for their like teeny emotional stuff. But this is like straight up like you're watching a HBO drama or something. Like, it is really sad, but really well done. You're on a road trip with 2 brothers, basically. Sean, he's the older one, he's 17, and Daniel, he's younger, I believe he's like 10. And Daniel has psychic powers like telekinesis. He can move things with his mind, but he can't really control it because he's a kid. It's like Life is Strange is kind of in the background. It's not the main thing so far. The main thing is the road trip I say road trip. It wasn't a planned road trip. They're basically just on the road trying to survive. And it's just as depressing as it sounds. You have to do things like steal food. You have to decide what you want to steal, if you want to even steal, to try and keep Daniel warm, Daniel fed. You get a dog at one point. That's also really depressing, trying to keep him fed and everything. And also, when I went in the episode 2, it was like, oh, we noticed you don't have a Captain Spirit save so far. Playing it will enhance your Life is Strange 2 story. So I actually went and played it after having it installed for 4 years. It's also very sad. It's a very sad game. I haven't came across many happy moments in it so far, but it's really good. Like, I feel like this is like the peak of what Don't Nod can do with a Life is Strange game. Like, I liked 1, but it kind of didn't pick up until like the last 2 episodes really came into its own. And this is Don't Nod, not Deck 9, who did Before the Storm and True Colors, which again really liked. But this is so different with Life is Strange and Tell Me Why, whereas they were in like a town with a community, established community, people around you, got to know everyone, whereas this is a road trip, so you're meeting new people every episode. And honestly, I have no idea where they're going to go. Like, a lot has happened even in that first episode alone, and then half of what I've done on the second episode. I've been meaning to play it for so long. I don't know why people don't talk about this one as often as they do as the other Life is Strange. It is different, but it's really, really good, like incredibly good. And I haven't seen much chatter around it, which is probably why I didn't pick it up for so long. I just picked it up because it was a Life is Strange game, basically, not because I knew it was a good quality Life is Strange game or I heard anything bad about it. I really recommend it so far, but not if you're in a bad mood and you don't want pretty depressing content. It's got a lot to say about. It's made in 2018. It's got a lot to say about like rising tensions in America as well. They're a Latino family, and not great stuff happens to them because of that. So some pretty heavy stuff. But then you've got the traditional Life is Strange awkward dialogue, which is better in this, but it's still pretty bad. But yeah, good game. I do really recommend it. I had it for free on my Xbox. I believe they give it away at some point. So if you have it and you want to play it, like check your Microsoft account, see if you can have it for free too.
More like life is sadness, am I right?
They really could have titled it that. Yeah, Life is Strange 2, semicolon.
I waited all that time for that dumb joke.
Mark was like, "Hurry up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut
It's
up!"
like, and the rising tensions in America. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I lived it, and I'm like, more like life is sadness.
Nailed it, Mark. Right? Nailed it.
Worth it. But that was all the games that we've been playing the past week. Now let's move on to the news. And definitely the biggest news that I'm not going to say we should have gotten Summer Game Fest, but I feel like that should have been. Anyway, so we've been talking about it for a long, long time. I didn't think it was going to happen, but God of War Ragnarok is coming this year. November 9th, 2022, on a Wednesday, also known as Odin Day, because, yeah, sure, be cute.
I mean, surely Thursday would have made more sense, but okay.
Yeah, but Santa like, they're probably like, oh, son of a bitch. You can't delay it a day. You already got harassed over not sharing the date. But before we jump into reactions, all that, I want to tell a little story, and I feel like this has been a running gag on this podcast. So every time we get good video game news, or at least something I'm excited for, something terribly happens in my life. I forget the first one, but I'm like, oh, got COVID. We get Bugsnax DLC, boom, Aunt Mickey dies. And I called it on this podcast, Jija, if God of War Ragnarok gets released this year, you're going to die. And you'll never believe what happened.
No way.
Oh, Daniel doesn't know. So sadly, and she's been in the decline for a while, so it wasn't sudden, like, out of the blue, like. So that Wednesday morning, we find out, like, she's had this, like, maybe cardiac arrest. I rushed to the house, and she was still conscious. She went to the hospital, and fast forward to that, like, she died peacefully that night, surrounded all of us. Because it's a do not resuscitate, she was able to go back home. We said our last goodbyes. Oh, lovely. So I go to work, and I come in late, and I check my phone before I set out, and I have notifications on for Santa Monica, and all of a sudden I see, like, oh, what's this? Boom. Uh-oh. I'm like, it's a trailer. I'm like, and I scroll up, and they're like, God of War is coming November 9th. And I'm like, well, she dead. I called it on this podcast. Look back.
You did. Not yeah, not a great gaming prediction, but yeah.
That should have been on the gaming predictions. I wasn't on that one, so.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man, but that is insane. Like, what is going on with your...
I know.
That parallel
I
is
said
so
he needs
strange.
to like get an exorcism on his PS5 or something. Like,
It's like, did I like
gaming
snub someone on the street and they're like, happiness and gaming represents death or horribleness? So,
wow.
just become an Xbox fan. We have no games.
Grandma got killed by Kratos. Who knew? I did. So, did everyone else have the same story when they find out the date announcement?
Funny enough, though, that's a pretty unique one, Mark. Yeah.
I'm actually going up to visit my gran tonight, so I'll check on her when I'm up there.
Perfect. Tell her I said hi.
I will do.
And
Happy birthday, Gran. It might be your last.
Kratos got announced. Sorry, Grammy. Sorry, JJ. So, what does everyone think about the date announcement
I'm
of
glad
the
you
killer
specified that.
of my grandma?
Yeah.
Anyone excited to play him?
I'm going to play that game with such sadness now. I'm going to think of your Gran.
It's not really sadness. I like to see it as I will take the day off to avenge my grandma.
Fair dues. Take it out
And I
on
don't.
Thor.
And I'm going to be honest, like going back to the actual game, I'm so excited. So excited. I've been like, it's funny that I said like on what are we looking for in the second half of the year? If God of War was announced, because I'm only going by like release dates, that would have been number one. So appropriately Forspoken out, God of War in. The marketing's gonna heat up. I can't wait to see like a state of play, showing all the footage, or at least the gameplay. That's what I'm interested in. But
Yeah, because they haven't released gameplay at all yet, have they?
like a little bit, like in that,
Yeah.
like what is the like a presentation showcase?
Was it
Like that
CG
3-minute
though?
trailer. So they released like a CG trailer for the date announcement, but the previous thing was like a 3-minute like in-game look at it as a trailer. So you saw like a little bit of fighting and all that.
Yeah, from my perspective, I'm interested to see if they're changing much of the combat, because I've talked about this before. I just do not connect with God of War's combat. I don't know what it is. The only one I've ever enjoyed is freaking Chains of Olympus on the PSP. Whatever that control scheme was, worked for me. Was a fan of the puzzle elements. Like I was talking to my brother actually. He was like, it really reminds me of a modern Tomb Raider game. The way you're exploring those areas. I enjoyed it, but I never completed it because I wasn't really motivated with the combat. I'm going to give it a go before this comes out, Ragnarok, because, it's like one of the biggest game releases, not of this year, but like ever.
Damn, I wish I'd had your hype levels. Maybe she would have been alive. That's the last Stark joke, I promise.
Yeah, man, we're going to cut you off now.
It's my grandma. I can do whatever I want. You don't own me. One time my parents listened to the podcast and they'll be like, what the hell is wrong with you? All right, I'm cutting myself off. I won't even knock on wood.
I am excited. In terms of gameplay, the axe in that last game felt super satisfying to throw that and catch that again. With the haptic feedback on this new PS5 controller, I'm looking forward to seeing how they, enhance that even more. I think that'll feel super tactile and satisfying when you're playing it.
I can't wait for the 3D audio. I just can't wait.
The interesting thing about this is that the same person who did the combat design for God of War did it through Thor in the Avengers game, and Thor's my favorite character. So I have no idea why I really enjoy that, like throwing Mjolnir, but when God of War, I was like, just doesn't work for me.
Wow, that's a hot take.
It's the same guy. It's the guy he designed the combat.
It is as hot as the weather allegedly is in your place.
We're not lying to you. It's warm here.
You're 38 degrees. That's like phrasing for us. I know it's a joke. I said no jokes about my grandma. I did not say international jokes are off the table. Noah, are you going to get a PlayStation 5?
I am not.
Moving on. Oh, anything else about God of War Ragnarok? I'm hyped.
It'll come to PC eventually, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, there is a question of yours I want to address, Mark. You've been bringing up, whenever this comes up, you ask, could this potentially pass Elden Ring for Game of the Year? Right? So I guess if it's coming November, you have to say, well, it'll be fresh in people's minds. It'll be very recent. So Elden Ring, well, assuming it's good, let's say it does rival Elden Ring. So Elden Ring I'm just saying they probably need a DLC to come out around that time just to keep it in people's minds.
I mean, if you want to look at the voters' perspective, and granted, that's very hard because very general, or at least let's just look from my perspective. From that late February to like whenever, maybe it's still now, that Elden Ring hype / like everyone talking about it. Everyone talked about it. And then they're like, hey, did you know Kirby swallowed a car? And then they went back to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just like such a groundbreaking game. And there's also the expectations of like God of War 2018 was so received well. It won so many Game of the Years. It's going to be, it has to be even better. So is there going to be any controversy? Is it going to be good? We don't know yet. But I'm super excited to talk about it when we get to our end of the year, Game of the Year podcast.
I feel like Callisto Protocol is a dark horse. Can you imagine that slipped in at the last minute and just took Game of the Year?
I think it's niche.
I don't see it, but it'd be great.
I think it could be really good, but I
It'd be
really
great.
do think it is going to be good. But I think it's that horror genre is too niche to get
Yeah.
Game of the Year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to look
That's
at
like
like
the
the
Oscars.
Game Awards, is that too late?
Yeah.
I feel like that's too late.
Yeah, December's also super late. Yeah, I don't know if that would qualify. Actually, I wasn't sure what the cutoff was.
Mm.
But not for us.
Yeah, personally as well, I think Elden Ring, you're right, Mark. Like it's already been groundbreaking. We know it like did new things in games, like new for open world. So incredibly well received. God of War does have that hill to go up now. You're just like, well, it's the sequel to the incredibly received game. Like, or is it going to be as groundbreaking as Elden Ring was? But again, totally different genres.
But
and also, Elden Ring has a bigger player base just because it's been out longer and it's on more consoles.
I would also throw out, though, that if you're talking about niche games being less likely, God of War is more mainstream than Elden Ring. I'd say Elden Ring's more niche than God of War.
No, not with the sales. Have you not seen? We probably could have put it in our news thing. It's the highest sold game in America so far in 2022. I think it has been the Souls game that has just broken into the mainstream.
I do think there's been a bit of a I do think there's been a bit of a happy accident though with so many other games being delayed and not coming out. Like I think in a busier year, it probably wouldn't have done those kind of numbers. It's probably making a difference. I'm just not so fun.
Fair point.
If you want to talk about like Sekiro, like I feel like before that, like Souls genre is popular, but it's part of the mainstream.
It was definitely niche. Yeah.
Like
maybe not as much as horror games
talk about it, but it's like all those tens, all the like the sales like broke.
Bloodborne did well as well. That did do quite good numbers, I think.
Yeah,
it did. Like of course it did, but it was only on one console. So played more of that. Wow, to think I dismissed Noah and he's bringing up a question.
That's all good. I just thought we should address it.
No, yeah, good question, Noah. It'll be an interesting for the end of the year. Maybe I will really like God of War Ragnarok.
You know what's not coming at the end of the year? Forspoken. 8 out of 10 transition. So just shortly, a couple hours after God of War announcement, Forspoken Twitter released a message, quote, as a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, we have made the strategic decision to move the launch date of Forspoken to January 24th, 2023. All game elements are now complete and development is in its final publishing phase. We would like to thank you for basically yada, 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 yada. It's a paragraph that was too lazy to read. Now, it's not, do you agree with this or are you happy or not? Do you think with God of War coming out this year, PlayStation's like, hey, can you push this back for us? Noah, as a person on the outside, what do you think?
Are these both, are they Sony-owned studios?
They're both Sony first-party games.
Yeah, exclusives, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. I'm going to say maybe, because it's not like it's a huge pushback. Yeah, it's like just the right amount of time.
Daniel?
I think it's more likely that who developed Forspoken? Which studio is that again?
Luminous Productions.
So
Square
I-
Enix are publishing it. They're a Square
Yeah.
Enix company.
I think it's more likely that Luminous were given the heads up about the God of War date before we found out, and they made that decision to push their game back because of that. I think that's more likely than the other way around. I don't think Sony would think that Forspoken is going to take away from God of War. I think out of the two, God of War would smother Forspoken. I think it's more likely the other way around. I think Forspoken have found out because they're an internal sort of developer and whatever, and it's first party studio, first party game they're working on. I reckon they've probably heard through the grapevine that God of War's coming out in 2022 and went, oh well, we better, save some financial embarrassment and drop it in 2023. I think that's more likely.
Yeah, like the official quote, this is the most interesting thing about the delay. Like, I'm bummed that it's coming out January now. I was actually really looking forward to Forspoken. It seemed like a really cool game, but it's as a result of ongoing discussions with key partners. They didn't say it was Sony. It could be Square Enix. Square Enix could have been like, oh shit, God of War's coming out. Let's not do it. And then their full quote was like, what was it? All game elements are now complete and development is in its final polishing phase. That doesn't mean it's done. It just means I got the general, like, this is the game we want, and now we're making that game. Games don't come together until like the last little bit of the development cycle. So
sounds like they entered QA is what they're saying.
Yeah. And then like polishing, making like the graphics better and all the stuff we don't know what they really do there. Game development's a mystery sometimes. But yeah, I think but it's all just like speculation, like what happened here. But it seems pretty suspicious it was around the God of War announcement time.
I don't see it as a negative though. Like whether it is a genuine reason for development reasons or it was to do with the God of War thing, regardless, it'll give them more time to make it tighter, work out more bugs. I'm fine with that. Do you know what I mean? I'm fine with them taking more time to get it in sort of the best shape possible. Whether that might be a knock-on effect to the God of War thing, but see if it is, it's a happy accident. Do you know what I mean? It'll give them a few more months just to make it as polished as possible. So I'll take it. Or just is it another month? Is it delayed from December to January? Is that right? Or October
to January? Yeah, so 3 months.
I mean, it's not a great deal of time. It's only 4 months. I can live with that.
Yeah, exactly. And be transparent, I'm a lot more excited for God of War Ragnarok, even though I'm super excited for Forspoken. With the opportunity, like, all right, we don't have like back-to-back games like in the span of weeks. January is not too far off from October. January, I feel like with video games, like if a movie comes out in January, doesn't do good. But as saw with Pokemon Legends, that did pretty good. And I feel
Dying
like
Light, I remember that came out at the start of the year, the first Dying Light game, and that done crazy well because of that. It came out in a dead zone, and it was a solid game, and it did good numbers because of it. So
that, and I feel like, I mean, statistically, more people have PlayStation 5s. I don't know if it comes out on also PlayStation 4, but if it doesn't, also good reason.
I don't believe you're talking about Forspoken. Yeah, just PlayStation 5 and then Windows. Oh, Windows. I didn't know that.
Oh.
Although maybe that's like we are going to develop it in Windows later.
Eventually. But yeah, anything else?
Just that Q4 and Q1 2023 are looking to be pretty stacked. If it's not coming out in Q4, it's delayed to Q1 2023, and I think that's just going to be like we're all talking about. Oh, there's no games, but not all these games keep on getting announced. Like God of War, Pokemon's like a week after God of War. That's going to be pretty crazy. There's the Call of Duty game coming out. There's Callisto Protocol coming out, and then Dead Space Remake coming out in January Q1, and then Starfield's got delayed too. They didn't say Q1, did they? 2023.
They said first half.
First half. So it could maybe, but probably won't. But like that's quite the amount of AAA games played during the end of this
2023 is huge. It's going to be a huge year.
Lots of talk for the game of the year.
Although we said that last year about 2022.
Sparks of hope. Just me. Okay, just me.
No, that's a good point. No, Switch has had a really good year as well. Like if you're into I'd say they're a bit more niche as well. If you're into like Xenoblade Chronicles, Bayonetta, Mario Rabbids, Pokemon, like this has been a
Kirby.
Kirby.
Or
This has been a
wait, you talking about
really
like
good
the
Switch
whole
year.
Nintendo year?
Yeah, like the whole Nintendo year for things releasing on Switch. It's been really solid. And like steady releases as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No Breath of the Wild 2, said one person on Twitter.
Just one.
100,000. Again, I didn't know if the math was wrong in where you guys live or something.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, 100,000 people here is a million over there. Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what school. Try to teach me. I didn't really pay attention. I don't know if that's going to backfire at any point, but oh well. Moving on. So last week in our little PlayStation stories, PlayStation Stars got announced. It is their new loyalty program. So both non-PlayStation Plus members and PlayStation Plus members have access to it. Basically, you earn points on purchases you made from the store if you're a Plus subscriber. But if you just own a PlayStation, no Plus, you just earn rewards by doing little activities. It's a little similar to Microsoft. But I want to read this one quote from Grace Chen from PlayStation when she was talking to Washington Post. Quote, "It's definitely not NFTs. Definitely not. You can't trade them or sell them. It's not leveraging blockchain technologies and definitely not NFTs." So guys, is this an NFT? That's like, hey, Mark, is your place messy behind you? And it's like, no, it is definitely not messy. It is clean. It is proper. Definitely not messy. Like, very, like, a lot of mentions of the NFTs.
I'm glad that she denied it
She
3
did.
times, though. She was like, no, it's not. It's a good indication that PlayStation aren't going to do it.
Because if Betty Boop, this is not a joke, Betty Boop is now getting into NFTs, and there goes my crush of Betty Boop. Yeah, I had a crush on Betty Boop.
There's one good thing that came out of this then.
What?
At least Marco stopped drawing the fan art.
Any listeners are going to ship me Betty Boop, Marky Boop.
Marky Boop.
Marky Boop.
Marky O Boop.
Oh, God.
We would be adorable. And luckily for any listeners out there, I won't do my Betty Boop impression because A, I don't think I do a good one, and B, it would scare me and you. You know what's not scary? PlayStation Stars. Or is it? Jessica, what's your thoughts?
Love it. I have an Xbox. I have a Microsoft account. I do Microsoft rewards pretty much every day. It pays for my Game Pass. I think I've paid for Game Pass once. Every other time it's been redeeming these points to get it. The ultimate version. It sounds like it, only you get those, those digital collectibles that are definitely not NFTs. It sounds really hard to try and get some of them, though. Like, you need to be the first person in your time zone to platinum a game. Like, no way am I ever going to actively try and get that. But just, like, logging in a month and earning, I think they call them campaigns, like your tasks you get on Microsoft Rewards, sounds really cool. I'm fine with it. Like, if it's just going to be stuff you're going to do anyway, and you get money off your PlayStation games, fine. I'll just log into the PlayStation every day and do that like I do with my Xbox. Do you use Microsoft Rewards, Noah?
I'll tell you the truth, I don't know, but I'm not sure how that works. I think I get messages about that on my Xbox, so yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those like things on Xbox that like kind of just goes under the radar. You really should just log in. Like, you literally click a couple of things, you build up enough points, and then you can get going over here, you can get like Tesco vouchers, Cafe Nero cards. Like, it's not just money off your your Xbox stuff. You get Xbox Store credit. You can get Game Pass PC, and all. Like, yeah.
So
I'm looking at this now. Noah, you can earn a lot of stuff from Microsoft, including Hershey bar vouchers. Oh, never mind.
Cool. So I get to there like through my account.
All you need is, you don't even need an Xbox. You just need a Microsoft account, and then you redeem it. You get a code. You put it in. So I'm happy the PlayStation's doing this too. I would have preferred to be like Xbox, where it was like you only need a Sony account and you could do it. But if it's on PlayStation, you've got a PS4 or PS5. That sounds pretty cool too.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
No, this is your chance. I know you mentioned on the podcast before you didn't really I mean, you got Game Pass back. For a little bit you didn't. If Jessica can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, just play to earn my Game Pass. Okay.
You gotta play to win. That's what the gaming industry is trying to tell us. Right? Oh, it's pay to win. Oh, that's not as good. Daniel, are you interested in this program?
Free stuff never hurts. I do think though it's about damn time. Like, I hate to sound cynical, but they've been talking about this for years at this point. I know that it's not easy to implement something like this at all times, but I mean, yeah, Xbox have been doing it for a long time. PlayStation have been talking about it for at least 2 years. It's like, yeah, about time, guys. But you know what? It's free. It's free stuff. If it gets his money off, subscriptions and PS Plus, etc. Then yeah, it can only be a positive thing, I guess. I do think that some of the things are a wee bit arbitrary and a bit, overcomplicated, it sounds like, but they can change that as they go. If people are moaning on Twitter that it's too difficult to build up any real points, then they'll make it easier, and vice versa. If it's too easy, they'll make it, a bit stricter. They can adapt as they go. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Very random. I started playing Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. And I had to wonder to myself, is it mean like Crash Bandicoot 4, long-awaited sequel, it's about time? Or is it like they're telling us the premise, like, it's about time?
It's a double entendre.
Yeah.
It's a double entendre.
But what does Toys for Bob really mean?
Oh no, this isn't going to be like, what is winter?
What is winter? What is next winter? What is this winter? What is life?
Oh
what
God,
is
no!
love?
I'm sorry.
Baby,
I'm
don't
sorry.
run. Oh,
You've opened the can. You've unzipped him.
Crap.
You've
oh my
unzipped
God!
him.
We need to move on before my brain breaks.
I will say, just closing thoughts. This is why I think it's an example of why it's awesome to have both Sony and Microsoft competing with each other in the console thing, because Sony's not doing this if Microsoft hadn't done it,
Yep.
And vice versa. The way like Microsoft are like quizzing people on, do you want haptic feedback in Xbox controllers? Like, they're like learning, trying to improve, trying to be the best, and that's what I like about like this. So stop your console warring, you weirdos.
Yeah, we all know Nintendo's the winner.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've got PlayStation, but I've also got a split Switch. I got an Xbox, screw PlayStation, but I've also got a Switch.
So I'm going to turn this over to Daniel because he wrote a great article on KeenGamer.com, about Skate 4 will be free to play. Daniel, please tell me what's up.
So I don't know if you guys are Skate fans, but the first 2 games were fun. They were arcadey, dumb, physics-based skate games. They sort of took over from the Tony Hawk series. When the Tony Hawk series started to get a bit meh, Skate started getting quite exciting, quite interesting. It is one of the last, I would say it's one of the last franchises, EA-based franchises, that still has goodwill behind it. People have been asking for Skate 4 for years. They've been wanting a sequel to Skate 3 because Skate 3 came out on PS3, so it must be about 10 years old at this point, if not more. People have been wanting this for years at this point. Every E3 comes around, we'll hear about Skate 4, sorry. So eventually the team that are developing it, Full Circle, they're an EA studio, they put out a boardroom video, which is basically a developer diary telling you what this new Skate game is going to be. However, it is unfortunately a free-to-play live service type model that they're following. It will simply be called Skate. It won't be Skate 4, and it will just be an evolving online free-to-play, most likely loot box filled. Well, so in the video, like we were saying before about them stressing the NFT thing and the PlayStation Stars announcement blog post, in this video, the guy's like, this is not a pay-to-win game, don't worry, this won't be pay-to-win. He reiterates that about 10 times. He's like, without saying, I know that EA are scummy, but this one isn't scummy. That's basically what he's saying. However, it's since came out. To be fair, it's not official. This is on Steam, I think. I've seen this. That there will be some form of a loot box in the game. Hold on a wee second. I'll just bring up the comment. But yeah, it was kind of cautious optimism from my point of view. And then I seen this, and I was like, of course it's EA. Of course we're going to have loot boxes. So EA, Skate, hackers have discovered that loot boxes are available for purchase in-game using TAPS currency. It appears that there will be a loot box mechanic in the game called swag bags, where players can purchase randomized building materials and clothing. It's not clear if the TAPS currency is exclusively earned in-game through completing challenges or is outright purchasable. So it's mostly it's EA, so of course it's going to be purchasable. It sounds like to me, it sounds like the Star Wars Battlefront 2 thing all over again with the loot boxes. I hope not, because that was a shambles. I just think it's like EA have just the one sort of golden piece of content they've still got with the Skate games. They're just turning it into a paid, well, not a paid, but a free to play live service type game where you'll have to purchase skins and you'll have to. It's not what we wanted. It feels like any goodwill that's behind this has just been. I don't know. I don't want to hear the words free to play. Live service. I hate those phrases, and the fact that they've put it into a Skate game just seems so soulless.
Were cosmetics a big part of Skate? Like, because to me, like I never played them. Played some Tony Hawk's. I never got onto the Skate train. Was it a big thing? I thought it was more the gameplay.
Yeah, it was. To be honest, that's what I was saying on some other podcast earlier. What they could have done with this, what I would have done if I was in charge of this project, you don't even need to make a game. Just do Super Mario Maker. Just give us the physics. Like you're saying, Jess, the best thing about the Skate games was the goofy physics. So give us a physics engine. Give us, an environment designer, something that we can go in and make our own map, our own ramps, and our own rails to grind and things like that. Give us, a customizable character thing. You can maybe change your clothes and your skateboard or whatever, and then just let people make their own maps and post them. In the style of Super Mario Maker. You don't even need to make a game. Just give us an engine, an engine with these physics and with this sort of environment builder, and let people go for it. And I genuinely think that would be way better than whatever it is they're doing here, in my opinion. But hey, it's early doors. It's like pre-alpha was what it was actually phrased as in the video. If you want to sign up to the playtest, so it might be too soon to say all this, but that phrase, I hate hearing it, and I hate, especially when it comes to a company like EA. It just immediately gives me the worst connotations. But hopefully, I'll be proven wrong. Hopefully, this will be a solid game for the fans. Like the guy in the video was quite passionately saying, we're making this for Skate fans, and it will still be the Skate game you know and love. Will it though? We'll see. I don't know.
I agree. Like loot boxes, I hate. Now swag bags, that's different.
It's very much EA doing the whole "How do you do, fellow kids? Would you like some swag bags?" Right? It's super yeah.
But me also being Steve Buscemi, being like, "Yes, fellow kid, I would like a swag bag."
Swag bag, yeah.
I
think I will never advocate for loot boxes. Just don't put them in the game. Just don't.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. Just let somebody buy a cosmetic. Like Fortnite's the biggest game in the world, doesn't have loot boxes, thrives off its cosmetics. Even not the collaborations, like just their own cosmetics. They make so much goddamn money off it. There is an okay way to do it if you're going to put it in. Like from my experience playing Genshin Impact, you do not need to spend one single penny on any of the wishes you make on the banners for the characters, because you can earn those primo gems just playing the game. There's so many side stories, there's so many chests, there's so many ways to earn primo gems and save them up, and they're constantly adding new content to give you more of that. I wish it wasn't there. I wish there was a better way to not give people the option to pay for it.
Yeah.
And, they earn so much, but you can, I've only spent £10 in the whole game, and that was totally optional because I like the look of a character, didn't even need them. So there is an okay way you can do it, and they also have a pity system where if you wish this amount, you'll get the character. If you get that right, it can be okay. But again, Dan, it's never this is gonna have loot boxes and it's a live service game. Let's go.
I just think it's not very self-aware of them. They know the guys developing this game must know the reputation EA has. No one in the gaming industry doesn't have a grasp of that, right? So why would you do a developer video and even they didn't mention the loot box in the developer video, which might make it worse actually, because then it seems less transparent. But why would you even put loot boxes in this thing. Like, even if it is just you earn all the points in game, I wouldn't even touch that, because you're EA. Like, you don't have that. You've got this already horrible reputation with loot boxes and with grindy. Let's face facts. If there's loot boxes in the game, there's going to be the option of, hey, you can pay a $5 and buy this loot box, or you can earn 10 million points and you maybe earn 5 points per game. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be the system. If the loot boxes are indeed in the game, I should stress this is just a Steam board rumor, so it might be absolute nonsense. But yeah, if that's the case, and that's what they'll do. And that's the part that's the thing that I'm scared of. It's like he says, it's cautious optimism, but we've just been burnt by EA so many times in the past that it's like, this is the one franchise you've still got goodwill behind. Why are you ruining it for the sake of making a buck? It just seems so typically EA.
Yeah, it was like literally a meme, like when Skate coming every time anything with EA happened.
Yeah.
And it's like a monkey paws wish, like, you've got Skate, but it's a live service game.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
What have I done?
I love Mark's dramatic delivery.
Jessica, when you edit this podcast, I don't know if we have the rights to this song, but can you also play "What Have I Done" by Linkin Park?
Oh, I'll check and see if we have the rights to that song. Yeah, it should be just, kicking about in the back somewhere. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Camptown Races and Linkin Park, their whole discography.
Okay, I'm on it. Write that down.
Thank you. Noah, you skate, bro?
I don't, but I know the song you're talking about. Yeah, I know that song.
Transformers. Really?
No one's ever said, yeah, Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers, fellow kids. Oh, let's move on, because I'm like, oh shoot, we also have a main topic. Best gaming sequels. Okay, Jessica, can you insert an applause clap for that?
I can do that. I can do that.
I prefer the deafening silence.
It happens a lot in my life, Daniel. I don't want this recorded. Like, all right, who's excited that I'm coming up? Like that. But it's funny how I mentioned movies and the whole concept of a sequel is very terrifying, and it is for gaming, but I feel like gaming, we want sequels. And looking at the list, there's just so many gaming sequels. I feel like maybe Dan and I will have some overlap. Who knows? But Noah, let's start with you. What is one of your best gaming sequels?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with Halos 2 and 3. So yeah, I wasn't sure which one to pick. I was leaning more on Halo 2 because the main thing that I want to talk about is the follow-up from Halo Combat Evolved, the original Halo game. So of course that game was a huge smashing hit back in the early 2000s when people still knew what Linkin Park was.
You son of a bitch.
So that was a huge hit, and you're like, so how does this get followed up? So with Halo 2, it was great. I'd say that's probably my favorite Halo campaign, and it got more interesting. You got a bit of an insider's look at the Covenant. Saw this fantastic scene early on with this parallel between Master Chief and the Arbiter, where like they're the same thing for either side, but the Arbiter is being like a shame, like they're pushing shame upon him. It was like, oh God, this is awful, and it's just because he lost. Like that's the reality of war, and they don't care. They don't care that you tried, or that you're a great soldier, a great commander, and they care did you win. So Master Chief's being given this medal. The Arbiter is being branded with that shame on you lost thing. and it was interesting. You got to play as the Arbiter. That was fun. A lot of really fun, like driving the tank, like the tank level in Halo 2. That's fantastic campaign level. Yeah, so it was fun. It added a lot to the story, to your enjoyment, and it was really a great sequel.
Does he show his face?
No.
What?
What about the third one? You mentioned the third one.
Does he also show his face in that?
No, you never.
does not.
His face. So yeah, the third one is great as well. I really like that campaign, but yeah, I'd say Halo 2, like the jump from Halo 1, is like kind of deserves the bigger praise.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Awesome. Daniel, what's one of your best gaming sequels?
So, my top 3 games of all time, only one of them's a sequel. The other 2 are Metal Gear Solid and The Last of Us. In third place is Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is... when you talk about Uncharted and you talk about the incredible set pieces that makes that game what it is, I always think Uncharted 2. Like, a lot of folk think Uncharted 3 with the plane sequence and the ferry when that explodes and you're running out this cruise ship and it's all the great sequences, but that train scene in Uncharted 2, I remember seeing the trailer for that thinking what an incredible set piece, to play, able to play through that. And then when you played it, it wasn't disappointing, still it wasn't like quick time events, it still felt interactive. It still felt like you were a part of what was going on. It felt super cinematic. I loved the fact that they opened that game with that sequence and then show you how Drake got to that part about halfway through the game and then continues for there. Just super clever storytelling. I think it's Amy Hennig's best work as a writer and director. Yeah, Uncharted 2 is a masterpiece. It expanded on the charm of the first game. It sort of improved on the controls. Some people still don't like the shooting on Uncharted. It's still not amazing, but it's better than the first game. The acting's better, the writing's better. Again, people don't love the last part of that game where it becomes a bit supernatural, but I do. I actually enjoy that final boss fight. And yes, Uncharted 2 is just one of my favourites. I love that game. So definitely one of the best sequels I've ever played.
It introduced Chloe. She's one of my favourites in Uncharted. Yeah.
I know that the movies are kind of doing it in order, telling the story of Nathan Drake, kind of, what we learned in Uncharted 4 about his brother, etc. But I always kind of liked how Uncharted left. I mean, obviously, they wrote it as they went, which is why it is the way it is. But I quite like the way they kind of retroactively gave you all these characters from Drake's past, like Chloe and like Sam later on. It fleshes out the character. It's like, in the first game, he's this kind of charming, handsome Indiana Jones type with a kind of sense of humour. But here he's got this, past kind of complicated relationship with this woman, and then later on he's got a brother we never knew about, and it just adds depth. It's a good way of doing it retroactively. It never felt, because the writing was well done, it never felt forced. It never felt like convenient, or it felt natural, it felt real, and it helped to make him feel like a real kind of character. And I think it also helps PlayStation in that era, with their exclusives, have a great selling point of a game. I think Among Thieves
Naughty Dog
really, I would recommend to anyone at the time.
Yeah, they held PlayStation 3 on their back. Like, I was an Xbox primarily player back then, and it was Uncharted 2. Totally agree. I was thinking about putting this on my list. Uncharted 2 and Last of Us. Like, they were like, you need to buy a PlayStation 3 for these games. Yeah, incredible. I agree about the movie as well. I would have loved to see Nathan Drake, older, first game, start there, and then introduce Chloe and everything as you go on.
Yeah.
Is that the most thing that you wanted to see out of that movie, Jessica? Or was it the Rotten Tomato score?
It was an okay movie, okay?
Yeah, but it was a box office success. I'll give it that. It was actually just it was okay.
Once again, I would have got an accurate prediction if I'd went for audience reaction on Rotten Tomatoes, not critical.
And hell, I always say you would have made 1,000 spam accounts like 5 stars, 5 stars, 100, 100, 100.
Like, I need to win this meaningless competition, please.
It's not meaningless. It's KeenGamer. KeenGamer.com. Oh, Jessica, what's your best gaming sequel?
I actually struggled with this quite a lot because there's like 3, and I know we're only putting 2. But I will go with The Witcher 3. I have
great
never.
pick.
It is an incredible game. I don't think I need to explain The Witcher 3 to anybody. You know, it was one of those ones that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was not going to play it because I had not completed The Witcher 1. I tried playing the first Witcher for so long on my PC. It didn't. I thought it was cool that you had Witchers and the monsters and Geralt lost his memory and all that. I couldn't get into it. I tried so many times to play it. Never played the second one when it came out on Xbox and PlayStation, PC. It didn't even register that it came out. Everyone was getting pretty excited over the third one during like E3 when they revealed like you could jump and stuff. People were just like Elden Ring losing their minds. But I held off on playing it for so long because I was like, I haven't played the first two. Like, how am I like I won't get it. I won't like it. I want to play the first two first. But I worked in a company over here called CEX. It's like a GameStop where you trade in your games and all. And the cover stared at me for 6 months. It was like in our recommended games, and it finally went down to a price that's like, what, 15 quid. I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And it was just one of the best RPGs I've ever played in my entire life. Like, Geralt is such an incredible main character. He's got a whole cast of side characters who are incredible, even though I didn't know the history with Triss or anything, and Yennefer. I'd never read the books at that point. You've got, I know not a lot of people like Dandelion. I thought he was fine. I liked it. All the different cities you go to, like, it was kind of like, I love Dragon Age, but it was kind of like a better Dragon Age, the way they'd implemented those cities. And the variety in combat you can get in it, like, I never touched the potions or concoctions or whatever they were called. I can't remember. At all. Like, I put it into like light armor gear and like spec'd my girl around that. I talked to my brother and he like only did potions. Like, he only took them with the negative side effects you get and the plus you get it. The variety you can give Geralt, like, you can kind of shape Geralt to be like how you want to play him, which is, I really like that over like a default character like in Dragon Age, and I really like that in Mass Effect as well. You could make your shepherd the way you wanted to. It's obviously not got the Paragon Renegade stuff that have, but I think he's a great character. It was such a good idea to have like a central RPG character who isn't just like built by you. I think it's more personal that way. He was able to be more involved in the stories. Some of the greatest stories I've played in like a fantasy game, like the Bloody Baron storyline. The whole stuff with Ciri. I think Ciri's an amazing character as well. I could pick it up at any point and play it. It's just unfortunate that it's so goddamn massive that I never complete it when I pick it up and play it. Yeah, love The Witcher 3.
Are you gonna get the next gen upgrade? Or I don't know.
Yep, it's free. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. That is why every once in a while I'm like, maybe I'll pick it up. Like, no, I'll wait.
Have fun with your frame rate. I'll be with my Switch portable 540p and be like, ooh,
yeah,
a pixel.
Again, they got it on the Switch, not cloud. That's incredible.
And it runs pretty good.
That's the unbelievable part.
Yeah. Witcher 2? No. First Witcher? No. Witcher 3? Hey. But moving on, one of my best gaming sequels at number 2. Daniel, I really hope you don't have it. Batman Arkham City.
I don't.
Woo! I thought you were going to say do. Gave me a little heart attack. But Batman Arkham Asylum, great game. Like, and it's not really like, with a game like best sequel, doesn't automatically mean like the first game is bad or just okay. Like, I think that says a lot when your first game is great, and then the second one is just like so much better that you didn't even think it would be like that before. Of course, first game you're exploring Arkham City, but the whole area of, Arkham Asylum. This one with Arkham City and the whole storyline, and of course, the great Paul Dini had a big part of it. Wrote it. I don't know who else, but you see a lot of his thumbprints on it. I think it's one of the best Batman stories in all of media, and that includes comics. Hate me. You already do. But, and then the gameplay, just exploring the city, the side activities with either Bane or Hush or Zaz, so good. And of course, the acting, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill. I think it's probably Mark Hamill's best performance as a Joker.
Yeah.
And even though like the cosmetics, like eventually they released it as like free skins, but like playing as the costumes, Batman the animated series, amazing.
Yeah.
They somehow took like a fantastic game and made it even better. Because I know like sometimes the transition to like, I don't know what you call Arkham Asylum, but it was more like a hub world. Like you go in this wing and you can still explore that.
It was a Metroidvania.
Yeah. But this one, like the transition to open world works perfectly. And like, hey, why is there goons around here like fighting random people? It's like, well, that's the prisoners. This is a prison city. Again, Prison City doesn't have a good reign. Arkham City. But what a great game.
Yeah.
Now moving on.
I mean, I've always preferred Arkham Asylum, but I do love City. But for me, Asylum just got the edge. But I love Arkham City.
So good. Noah, what's your best gaming sequel?
So my best gaming sequel, but believe it or not, is going to be a Bethesda title. Who could have guessed?
What?
Yeah. If you can guess, before I say it, everyone try to guess which one it is.
Oh, it's either Skyrim or Fallout 3, right?
It has to be
Fallout 76.
Right, I'll say Fallout 3.
Skyrim.
No, it's Fallout 4. Or Fallout 3 Fallout 3 New Vegas.
Well, that is the best Fallout game. So,
right, Mark, you are wrong. Dan, you are right.
Fallout 3.
Okay.
I said Fallout 3. So
yeah.
So I decided on Fallout 3 because it was Bethesda's first Fallout game. Not only was this a transition from Fallouts 1 and 2 to Fallout 3, it was a transition between developers, making a huge leap from being really a classic PC game to being a AAA three-dimensional game on a console. So for some history that some non-Bethesda superfans may not know, at Black Isle, after Fallout 2, there was a Fallout game in development. So supposedly it was going to take the player to, I guess, further east into Nevada and perhaps into Colorado as well. So this would have been the third canon Fallout game. This would have been Fallout 3 had it hit the stores, but during its development, of course, the Interplay goes under, and Black Isle, as a result, it also is ceasing to exist. Assets are liquidated, and Bethesda ends up with the rights to Fallout. So at this point, I don't believe they had started production on their Fallout game, but they had started paperwork on getting a spin-off for Fallout. So Bethesda's Fallout spin-off ends up being the third canon Fallout game, ends up as Fallout 3. And it's terrific. But like we've said before, like I feel like it's the simplicity that people tend to like about that one. It's easy to just hop in and play again. You don't have to think about things. You just have this way you like doing things. The choices are simple. You remember what's what, and you can max your character pretty easily. I'm really pretty good with that character progression system. I can do it within a week.
Pretty good. Yeah. I also love the stories in Fallout 3. I think that was
the stories and the side missions, etc. were the best out of any Fallout game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Side content is absolutely terrific.
And one of the first games that was doing story DLC as well. I remember on the Xbox 360 era. Really good as well. I quite like them.
Yeah, those DLCs.
I would argue that Fallout 3 is the last time that Bethesda really moved the needle as a developer. Like, look at their engine. I think Starfield will be the next time they do that. But you look at the creation engine, and I just think from Oblivion to Fallout 3, it's such a step up. that first time you walked out the vault and you saw that open world, like that is up there with some of the greatest gaming moments of all time. It just that kind of endless exploration. Like, okay, in hindsight, everything's a bit muddy and a bit grey looking, a bit muted brown colours, but at the time, it just felt like so much possibility and so much kind of so vast, but still worth exploring. You know, it wasn't vast and empty; it was barren but worth exploring, which was
yeah, exactly.
What a game!
Still mad I lost part of my drink.
That was definitely a split moment decision by you, Mark, wasn't it?
Nope, it was planned the whole time. Moving on. Daniel, what is your best gaming sequel? Because I'm curious. You mentioned your top 3 games. One of them is your number 2. Or maybe you're playing not by the rules. I don't know.
Maybe Dan's doing a Jessica.
I did struggle with this one. There was a few vying for the top spot, but then I broke it down into my top games. So you know my top 3 games all time. Number 4, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I think Metal Gear Solid 3, technically it's a prequel, but it's called Metal Gear Solid 3, so I'm going to count it. Metal Gear. What I love about the Metal Gear series and following it as I was growing up, before the internet, when it was just gaming magazines was the only kind of source of information you had. Going from Metal Gear Solid 1 to Metal Gear Solid 2 obviously was a huge twist at the time, to play as Raiden and do this whole almost like a VR mission, because it was all a simulation, and you're fighting the president of the United States at the end of the game with an eye patch and 4 robot arms. It just super insane out there. And then where do we go from there? How do we make it even more kind of strange and unexpected? Let's go back to the 60s and tell the story of the guy that Solid Snake and Liquid Snake were cloned from. This guy, Big Boss, because the last time you seen him was in Metal Gear, and he was a total psychopath, terrorist, asshole wanting to destroy the world. But how did he get like that? Because that is, the secret to any great villain is making you see things from their perspective, or at least how they got to their perspective, how they sort of came up with their philosophy and stuff. Metal Gear Solid 3 done that masterfully. Just a solid story. The writing, the environment, the fact that they took you out of these kind of industrial complexes and put you in the jungle. They implemented things like the camouflage into the game. You had this. For me, the Metal Gear Solid villains get worse as the series goes on. Like the best villains, the best kind of boss fights are that first game. Second game's pretty solid, and then the third game really was the last time for me that I was like, these boss fights are incredible. Sadly, in 4 and 5, I never really felt that. But amazing bosses, just so ridiculous, but also so passionate and so committed. Like, it's so committed to this insane story. This guy that fires bees out his hands, this guy that's like fireproof but is burnt to a crisp, and just all this strange, weird Kojima stuff that just works. It works on a emotional level as well. You've got this guy that's having to kill his old mentor, who's like a mother figure to him. And she's this kind of awesome badass that he kind of got a lot of his personality from. So even though Metal Gear is all about legacy, well, it's about many things, but legacy is one of the main themes. And the person that really started that legacy was the boss. Everything kind of comes through her. It's passed on to Big Boss, who's then passed on to, the sons of Big Boss, and it goes on and on. But she's really the kind of square root of also being introduced to that character. She was one of my favourite characters at the time and still in gaming. I think I would like to. She's one of those characters that they used her just the right amount. You don't see too much of her, but she's just sprinkled in at certain points, and she adds a gravitas to the bizarre, the old man that, if you put the clock forward, he dies, the sniper at the end. You've got these bizarre moments, but you've got these super like emotional kind of heartfelt moments as well. And it's Metal Gear Solid 3 is a masterpiece.
Plus Snake Eater.
Also had a phenomenal James Bond-esque theme.
That was the best part of it, in my opinion. You make up a great part of Kojima, like committing to it. I think that's why he succeeds so much. He's not like, oh no, I'm doing this weird thing. He's like, no, I'm doing this weird thing and I'm going all in.
He doubles down.
Doubles down. And that's
like me.
It's like a pantomime with nuclear weapons. Like, that is one of the best ways to describe Metal Gear, and it works.
Yep.
And
Totally.
I think that's why I was listening to a podcast recently, actually, kind of funny. We're talking about where could the Metal Gear Solid franchise go in the future without Kojima, and I feel like that's why they're in such a hard position at the minute, because you don't have someone. There's no one like him, in terms of somebody to anchor this franchise and drive it forward. It's such a unique blend of comedy and serious, world-ending elements like nuclear war and crazy kind of anime-inspired storylines and these kind of emotional family moments. Like, it's such a blend of everything that it's hard to hit that tone on the head, which is also why I'm interested to see how this film's going to turn out that they're making with Oscar Isaac. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3, what a game, man. And they should remake it. That's also one of those games. The Metal Gear Solid franchise in general deserves at least a remaster, but to see it and be remade, in like HD. There's a Konami at the minute are focusing on these pachinko machines, which is basically gambling machines in Japan. However, there are some cutscenes from those machines that I've seen, and it's like the boss and Big Boss and all these characters recreated in like full HD, and it looks gorgeous. So just remake it, guys. Just give us a remake, please.
If
Well,
the
since you
rumors
said
about if the rumors about Silent Hill being like franchised out to other places
Well-
or developers are true, I hope that they would do it with Metal Gear as well. And like, just go to Kojima Productions, just forget about that beef.
Yeah.
I think it was it this year or was it last year? It was either the start of this year or it was last year. There was a big rumor going around that Metal Gear Solid 3 was being remade. I can't remember if it came from a Twitter leaker or something, but there was a lot of speculation a couple of months ago anyway, so hopefully it's true, because it needs to be done.
Awesome. Jessica, what's your best gaming sequel?
I struggled with this one. They're both Naughty Dog games, actually. One's an old Naughty Dog game, one is a new Naughty Dog game.
Crash Bandicoot 2.
No.
Okay.
Although, looking at all my favorite gaming sequels, like Naughty Dog are incredible at them. Like, they're so good. Like, their second game is almost always better than their first game. Well, you see now, Dan, this is...
Depends on who you ask.
This is... I'm going to just say right now, my honorable mention is Jak 2.
Okay.
Jak 2 is just such a good game. I love it. Like, the gameplay elements of it are so solid. Like, Jak 1 was more like it really was kind of like a platformer, like collectible type thing. Good game. Just Jak 2 was like, you got this like hub open world area and amazing weapons. It was like Ratchet and Clank but alternative. Bit of a weird story, and maybe you don't like Daxter, and fine. It's a bit weird and not what Naughty Dog does today anyway. It was more cartoony. I love it so much. But my number one pick is going to be The Last of Us Part 2. Which honestly, I don't know like the full ramifications of why people really don't like this that much, because I was offline for playing it a lot, which helped me. The reason why I was maybe not going to do this as my number one is because I really don't like the first half of the game, which I think is the opposite of which I don't know. I don't know what it is that I wasn't connecting with Ellie. I wasn't interested in the story at all. I didn't really like the hub area with Dina in the beginning. It looked incredible. The combat was so good, and I'm not a stealth fan. Like I've said this before, the first Last of Us, I throw smoke bombs and I hit people with a baseball bat. that's my. You couldn't really do it in this one. There was like the enemies were more smartly placed. Thought that was fine. It just wasn't clicking for me, but I kept going. I was doing it in like little bursts, and then something happens in the middle of the game and you're playing as someone else, and it was just like a breath of fresh air. Like I think that was, people didn't like that, maybe didn't like the character. I thought it was incredible because it was what I wanted from the second part of The Last of Us game, and it was not to be a Joel and Ellie story. It was to be somebody else's story in The Last of Us world. It just so happened to be that this character story was very intrinsic in Joel and Ellie's story in this game. I think it has such a cool boss fight when you're playing as the second character. I could probably say it now. You're playing as Abby. She's called Abby.
What?
Such a cool boss fight. It's so good. I love it. It's kind of got like the horror elements like Last of Us has. I love her relationship that she gains, kind of like a Joel Ellie relationship with somebody. It goes on for a real long time at the end. Like I was like, is this game going to end? But it felt like epic, like you were watching some sort of like epic conclusion to it, and no other game has made me like stare at the screen going, please don't make me do this twice before. Like I was like, just don't make me do it. Don't make me physically do this. I don't want to. I love the story, but I don't like the first half of the game. I just don't. That's why I haven't replayed it yet. Even though it's got the patches with the PS5 patch, I really want to. I just don't want to do the first half. But I loved part 2. Maybe Dan can inform me of why maybe he doesn't agree.
So I wanted to like Last of Us Part 2 so much. I was so hyped for it, and I didn't. It's such a shame because I love so many elements of it. The gameplay is some of the best gameplay I've ever experienced. The graphics are incredible. The presentation in general is just absolutely astonishing. The performances are amazing now, that knock it out of the park, incredible. I just cannot get on board with Abby. It was the
Is she what people don't like? Because honestly, it was so toxic around this. Like, not if you didn't like it. It was. I just did not pay attention. I was like, I don't want to know why people don't like it. Is she the reason?
Well, I think
like
can we go full spoilers here?
Okay, we're going full spoilers.
Okay.
Warning.
So
Noah,
I think.
Are you ready?
Mute us.
I'm ready.
Mute us.
Yeah.
I think the fact that she killed Joel had a big impact on the initial reaction of that. That isn't the part I've got a problem with. The part I've got a problem with is what I was saying before about Metal Gear Solid 3 being showing you how a villain comes to their point of view, their perspective. If you introduce Abby and you have her do something as significant as killing the main character for the last game, you then need to justify that and go back and explain why. I don't feel like they ever did that in an effective way. I feel like she shoots, what's the Asian guy called? It's not Owen, because that's the guy that's with her. Jesse, is it?
Yeah, I think it is Jesse.
So she shoots Jesse, who, again, one of the few likable characters that they introduced in the second game. She shoots him right in the face, and then you immediately cut to a flashback where you play as her. And I'm like, I don't want to play as this character who just killed one of the most entertaining characters that they've introduced in this game. And then from that point on, you plod through, and then it gets to, as the boss fight you're talking about, the fight with Ellie.
No, that was one of the moments though where I was like, do not make me kill Ellie. Like, I her in this game, but do not make me do it.
I was trying to see if there was a way that you could just let Ellie kill you and just let that be the canon ending. But
yeah, I tried to do that too.
I was like, can we not just kill Abby and move on? Like, and then the fact that at the end of the game, you go back to Ellie and she doesn't even commit. She throws away her family for the sake of nothing. She doesn't even kill Abby and then she lets her go. I was like, nah, it pissed me off. I do feel like I need to replay it because I was so invested in these characters and I feel like the writers of the game just done them dirty. I feel like Joe wouldn't have gave his name as quickly as he did when the lead up to his death. He just tells him, "Oh, I'm Joe, and this is Tommy, and this is where our camp is." And it's like, this isn't the Joe for the first game that was cautious and careful. Do you know what I mean? This is anyway.
I think that's why I like it. Though. It's like this is a little bit on, and it is different. I think I like it for the reasons you don't like it, which kind of makes sense.
I feel like I need to go back and replay it because I played it at the game. I played it at the time. I had so much hype for it. I was like, this is going to be my game of the year, 100%. And it just didn't deliver. It felt like a betrayal of the characters that I knew for that first game. And I still kind of feel like that, but it's been a few years, so I'm wondering if I go back and play it now with a bit of distance, maybe I won't feel that as much. But yeah, I'm sorry. They try to make Ellie out to be the villain, or revenge, and she kills lots of dogs in this game, so it's okay that our girlfriend and surrogate child gets taken away from her at the end and she's sad playing guitar with no fingers. So I'm like, nah.
I love the contrast they did though, where you play as Ellie and you see like you are doing the bad things and then you jump to Abby and was like, well, yeah, but you're doing the bad things here. I loved what they were trying to say with that, like revenge as well. If you're not down with that, I can see why you wouldn't like it. And I really liked Abby, so
it just seems like a bit of a lazy. I feel like revenge is bad. It's just quite a lazy crux to base your whole story around.
It's fair, but they did do a whole campaign on it. Like, here's why revenge is bad.
Yeah,
I was a fan of it. Although that whole sequence at the end where Ellie is going to find Abby, I thought the game was over before that. Like that dragged it out for me. Like I was like, oh my god, there's a whole other gameplay section here. But it felt appropriate at the end that they build it up so much.
I can't wait. I'm probably gonna buy the Last of Us remake. They got me. I know.
They got me too. Even though I complain about it.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
listen. I said before I complained, I will probably buy it. So Naughty Dog won.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play part 1 and then immediately jump into part 2.
Mm.
I didn't do that for part 2 when it came out, but
I did. It was very good.
I did too.
A lot of
Yeah.
sadness. A lot of sadness.
I'm like, can I be too sad? And it was just during the height of pandemic, and it's like in this post-apocalyptic world, I'm like, no.
Also,
Thank
Last
you.
of Us Part 2 nearly blew up my PS4. Like, I didn't have a PS4 Pro. It was just the base model I've had since launch, and man, the fans on it were going crazy. My room was warmer than it is now.
Do you think the fans were reacting to like Joel's dead?
That was Twitter. That was Twitter. at the
Yeah,
time.
oh, okay, yeah. Okay. It was Twitter integration right there, yeah.
Why would Sony develop that? Oh, but great discussion. And now I'm just like, yeah, you see, now I want to buy part 1.
They are incredible stories. They are incredible games.
They are, and I can't wait until HBO,
Yeah. I'm
which
excited
they
for that.
say early 2023. So dope.
Yeah, they didn't put a season in, thank God.
Yeah.
When is winter?
What is winter? All right, fine. Let's move on to me. I got 2 things before I say my number 1. Does Final Fantasy VII count?
I was thinking this. I'll allow it.
Why
Okay,
would it not?
Well,
we'll
'cause
talk
they're-
about that in the honorable mention. But my number, it's not. So my number 1. It's not a surprise. I mention this game so often. Assassin's Creed 2.
I
That was
did-
on my,
should've-
that was one of mine. Just
It-
missed for me.
It is so good. The first game is okay. It's good. It was a great launching point for the franchise, but everything just got an upgrade. The combat, fantastic. Well, at that time. But it still holds up, kind of. But anyway, it's fantastic. Ezio, one of the best protagonists of all time. The open world of Renaissance Italy. But, this incredible cast of characters. Leonardo, I almost said DiCaprio, and I would have sounded like a real idiot. Da Vinci is your bro. Come on.
Yeah. What game?
And the whole cast of characters, including Uncle Mario, who might be played by Chris Pratt. Anyway, but it's just so incredible. Jasper Key, I think he has the best video game score of all time. Yeah, of all time.
Wow.
I don't agree,
Silent.
but I haven't heard the music in a really long time. So it's just
Let
when
me
Final
sing it for
Fantasy-
you.
When Final Fantasy exists, I can't.
It's no Snake Eater, but
Oh yeah, fair point. That is the greatest gaming song ever.
Which son? I couldn't hear you.
I said it's no Snake Eater.
Snake
Wow.
Eater song, yeah.
Snake Eater.
Well, that's. Let me put my nerd glasses on. That would be a soundtrack, and this is a score, a musical beneath it.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
Well, actually, that would be a soundtrack.
Mm.
But everything about this is so good. That was my first non-Nintendo game, and it's like, ooh, I'm a big boy now.
you spoke about the earlier when we were talking about Fallout. You spoke about the side missions. The side missions in Assassin's Creed 2 were phenomenal. The whole Adam and Eve thing, finding that sequence, and even collecting the feathers, which was the worst part of the platinum. I still kind of remember it fondly.
I'm
Do you know
like,
what I mean?
I'll do it for the kid.
Yeah.
The best story I have of Assassin's Creed 2 is, the way you kill the Pope at the end?
Oh yeah.
violently.
My mom's like super religious, and I was talking about it to my brother, and she was so disgusted. She's like, "You killed the Pope." I was like, "No, but Mom, you don't understand. He was a real bad guy."
Yeah, not like real life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
like the
the
church in real
Pope.
life.
Yeah, the Pope is such a good guy in real life.
I thought I was gonna get disowned that day whenever I killed the Pope. So yeah.
So
And
is she
that
a
was the
fan
last
of like?
Assassin's Creed game I ever completed as well. Assassin's
Has
Creed
she ever seen the Young Pope?
2. She hasn't.
Great memes out of that.
I'll inform her. I was like, you need to see this. Will I get disowned?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
maybe not. I don't know. Find out on next week's podcast.
Yeah. It's the Maury show again.
Oh, yeah, Assassin's Creed 2, the one that almost got Jessica disowned. Best sequel of all time for that reason. How can you explain to her, like, okay, listen, the Pope wanted to take over the world, and your mom would be like, to spread the good word?
Yeah.
One has
Yes, but what if the good word wasn't good?
Yeah. To be fair to her, I had a really I couldn't explain it well, okay. But still. So it was a no-no.
But that was our best gaming sequels. Guys, what's the honorable mentions? Actually, first, Final Fantasy, it is a sequel in the series, technically, but it's its own game.
Yeah,
okay.
like 13.2, I guess, would be more of a sequel than
Or like
14
that
to 13.
10.2 or something. Like, that's
Yeah,
a sequel. I
10
think.
10.2. 10
What is wrong with that franchise?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yet again, I just bring out my money and be like, all right, Square, here you go. That's $1 or £1.
Honorable mention for me, we were talking about great soundtracks or scores. Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 had an amazing soundtrack, and it was definitely on my list for best sequels. What a groundbreaking, unique game that was. And Resident Evil 4 was my other one. Again, moved the needle for horror action games. Arguably, it had a negative knock-on effect when you look at Resident Evil 5 and 6, but Resident Evil 4 at the time was a masterpiece. So that was my two honorable mentions, Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Yeah, I had a bunch of Resident Evil layers too, but then I was like, I don't know, like Resident Evil 7 is probably my favorite, and I'm like, yes, it's a sequel, but also it kind of rebooted the franchise, so I don't know. I put it as an honorable mention. Any Naughty Dog game, basically, like they're just incredible at sequels, even back in the Crash days. I'm trying to think of the other one I had. Sorry, Noah, any honorable mentions for you?
Yeah, I thought about Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3, but the thing with those is I kind of felt like they felt a little short in some areas. Like with Modern Warfare 3, I feel like fans of that tend to prefer the second one. So I'm like, well, if it's not really better than the one that came before, that's not going to be a mention for me. And to me, Black Ops 2, like campaign, I'd say I prefer the original Black Ops campaign. I did like the second one, though. I just kind of preferred the historical context of the first one. That multiplayer was a huge improvement. One of my favorite multiplayers. And the thing is, people like that zombies, but I'm not one of those people. I really just did not like the Black Ops 2 zombies.
Call of Duty games are a good shout. Actually, I'd put Call of Duty. Yeah. Oh god, they did have a really good run, and I really like Call of Duty 2 for its story. Like it was really good, like a global, better than any of the other one. Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah,
it was also great. Yeah,
does the first Black Ops count as a sequel? I guess it does.
Yeah, again,
I guess that's a sequel to World at War. Yeah.
I mean, it's a Final Fantasy situation. Like it has the name. Wow.
Yeah, we weren't going to throw it out or anything, but yeah. And also, I really like Call of Duty 3. It was like the first Call of Duty I played, and Xbox Live was just taking off, so I played it online a lot. I think it was a great game too.
So you're killing other people, but the Pope is the line?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Actually, now I'm saying that out loud. Any government person who has this act, I do not condone the killing of the Pope. It is a fictional thing, even though some of them are like really, really bad. But
It's fine. The Call of Duty games you kill the presidents, don't you? So it's kind of the same thing.
yeah, fictional presidents. But I think was this a real Pope in Assassin's Creed 2?
Yes, yeah, he was real.
Was it?
And he
Yeah.
wa- yeah, and he was also a real bad guy in real life.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Oh, what? And Renaissance Pope is bad.
I know, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Would
don't
you
know
get
if
in
I'm right
trouble
or
like
not about this. Was he Borgia? Was he Pope Borgia?
Yeah,
Portia?
I think he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
think he
there's a
was,
whole
yeah.
TV show about how awful he
Yeah,
is.
true.
Yeah.
Didn't think you'd get some history on this podcast now, did you? E-commerce, freshwater versus saltwater. It's what gamers wanted, I think.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Not the content they needed, but the content they wanted, or the other way around.
It's of course, exactly. Anything else before we wrap this all up with a bow and stuff and string and silly putty?
There are actually so many. I'd agree with Noah. Halo 3 is my favorite. It reiterated on what 2 did again. Maybe not story wise, but I just love the improvements to the combat in it. Half-Life 2, that's the other one I wanted to mention. Sorry, I was just googling the thing I was on before. Again, Half-Life 1, like I played it a little bit on the PC, didn't have a great PC, but still tried. Half-Life 2 was just so good and like so another one of those like epic journey type ones as well. I need to go back and play it. It's been so long.
I think the best sequels, what we've established today, is the best sequels are the ones that move the needle for gaming. Like
Yeah.
Half-Life 2,
Yeah.
that physics engine, so iconic. Fallout 3, certain games that just, it's like, oh, wow, we can do this now. Uncharted 2 as well, I would say as an example of that. It was kind of like, it paved the way forward for a lot of other games that came after it. And a lot of these sequels did that, so fair play to them.
Yeah, I think
And
you've hit it on the head. Like that's why we get excited for gaming sequels over like movie sequels or I don't know, like extra seasons or something. Like because they can improve upon
They can expand.
Yeah, what made like the other one, what the other ones before it great. Yeah,
I would say Super Mario Galaxy 2 is amazing, and I'm still mad that they didn't include it in the 3D All Stars.
Yeah, it's Nintendo.
Right.
If they can make the wrong decision, they will.
I love that's the slogan. It's Nintendo.
Yeah.
That and another Nintendo, Animal Crossing's New Horizon.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Shout out to my AC fans.
Both Assassin's Creed and Animal Crossing.
Yeah, the crossover we needed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Far Cry can have a Stranger Things crossover,
Why not?
Yet again, that makes a little more sense. It's not like, Tom and Altair, teaming up, or it's like the Creed. It's like, nah.
Tom and Altair.
I'm surprised Assassin's Creed and the Rabbids haven't had a crossover yet.
Oh my god!
I feel like that is ripe for a crossover, right? Because it's Ubisoft.
Or the Rabbids Templars, or they
Definitely
like,
Templar vibes.
and it's like translation. It's like free will is obsolete.
Yeah.
I'd play that.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
We should have a podcast like gaming ideas that will never work, but gosh, we want them.
Yeah. Right.
That sounds good.
Shout out to Half-Life 3 for not existing. That's a gamer joke for you guys.
Yeah, you might not be aware what games are because we know you came here for your conversion rates and your fish stuff. Yeah.
My parents are gonna be so impressed, like, oh yeah, like he's talking about e-commerce, he's talking about fish, and then it's the dead grandma. Don't you dare edit that out. It's what she would have wanted, Jessica. And that is a fact.
Okay.
All right. I think that'll do it. That's a nice little pleasant bow to end things on. Jessica, where can people find you?
You can find me at ResiJessie on Twitter.
Daniel, where can people find you?
You can find me on the Pop Shock podcast. We just recorded an episode today where we were talking about the MCU going forward because it feels quite aimless at the minute, in my opinion. And speaking of that, that kind of conversation was spurred by my review for Thor: Love and Thunder, which is on the KeenGamer website. Spoilers, I didn't like it much. So yeah, Pop Shock on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all that good stuff. And you can follow me at Twitter at danboy95 for movie and game reviews.
Woo. Noah, where can people find you?
You can find my YouTube channel. On YouTube, type in the Black Rose of Spaces. If you don't find it right away, add the word Bethesda. And speaking of that, in about an hour, I'll be unveiling the mother of each of Jarl Balgruuf's children. Yeah, so hopefully you guys can join me for the watch party. It's exciting.
People will listen to that after, so it will already. You're recording this as well, right?
Well, it's recorded. It's going to premiere.
Yeah, that's right. So you can find that on his channel. And you can find me on Twitter, LilMarco512. But you can find a lot of great stuff at KeenGamer.com. We got guides, news, reviews, all good stuff. You can find this podcast on Spotify. Rate us 5 stars. And guess what? We're on Apple Podcasts because we made it, Ma. We did it.